This is She Creates Business, a podcast for wedding pros. Your host, Krisy Roberts, interviews incredible women in the wedding industry who are making their mark and creating success on their terms. Join the conversation.
Hello there. Welcome to episode 146 of She Creates Business, a podcast for wedding pros. This is your host, Krisy Roberts. Thank you for being here today. We're going to have a fun episode today. I'm excited to introduce to you Laurie Hartwell from the Bridal Society and reintroduce you to Krisy Thomas, who is also from the Bridal Society, but you might recognize her name because she came on, 2 years ago or 3 years ago. We do talk about this at the beginning of the episode. She came on to talk about her experience getting certified as a wedding planner through the Bridal Society. That is one of the most popular episodes on this podcast. And I myself at the time and still was very interested in Krisy's perspective as a certified wedding planner and just really respected it and appreciated how seriously she took education when she first started her planning company all those years ago. Anyway, we do get into that a little bit at the beginning of the show, but on today's episode, I have both Laurie and Krisy. We are talking about 5 ways wedding pros can elevate their business. And along with that, we're talking about how getting accredited, getting certifications, doing continuing education can really help elevate you above your competition, especially since we are local businesses. We say this a lot on the podcast. I know I have said it. Many of my guests have said it. You've probably said it in conversation with other wedding professionals in your area. What do we all say? What you're probably saying it right now. There's such a low barrier to entry in the wedding industry. Raise your hand if you said that before. I know I have. And that doesn't mean that's not bad, but in some instances, it can hurt the industry when people are not taking their business as seriously as others. I host a podcast for all women entrepreneurs in the wedding industry. So I'm not here to stop anyone from pursuing their dreams of being in this industry, but you know how much I love continuing education. You know how much I believe in taking our business seriously. So I was really excited to hear from Laurie and Krisy and how passionate they are about the wedding industry, how supportive they are of other women entrepreneurs in this industry. And I had the pleasure, of course, of sitting down with them for this hour-long interview. But more than that, I really put my money where my mouth is. And two things, paid for the wedding planning certification course that the Bridal Society offers. It was incredible and worth every penny. And the second thing is I did pay to apply to be an accredited wedding venue through the Wedding Professional Society, which is what we talk about today. So that's how much I believe in what we're talking about today. That's how much I appreciate and respect Laurie and Krisy. I put my money where my mouth is. I didn't just come on and say, okay, talk about this and then see you later. I wanted to go through it. I wanted to see what the process was. And now listen, if you've been in business for any amount of time and you're like, Krisy, I'm booking just fine. I don't think I need to get accredited. I'm a planner. I don't need to be certified. I don't disagree with you. You may not need that. What I do think is that there is a low barrier to the industry. And I think that there are some of us like myself. If I can be accredited by an independent body, if I can say, here's my business license, here's my insurance. Yes, we do have more than 10 reviews. Here are 8 other wedding vendors who will vouch for us. Here's all of my marketing handles because we take our business seriously. I think that will put us above the competition in our local area. Maybe not right away, but I also feel a sense of, I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure how to articulate it, but I feel a sense of professionalism, maybe? I'm not sure. It just feels good, to say I'm submitting all of this personal information to this third party so that they can say, I see this. I see that Vista View Events is taking it seriously. Now here's a badge you can put on your website to share with any client who visits that you are accredited through the Wedding Professional Society. And they may not know what that means, but it's sort of like having a few letters after your name. Not everybody knows what you went through to get it, but instantly you are more credible, right? So anyway, we talk a lot about that today. We're going to talk about that today. You'll understand a little bit more. I want to tell you really quickly, in the interview, you're going to hear a different URL. I do have the correct one in the show notes, but The URL you want to go to learn more about accreditation is weddingprofessionalsociety.com. That's weddingprofessionalsociety.com. Again, it will be in the show notes. You don't need to remember it if you are doing something where you are not hands-free. But if you also need another pointer or need me to point you in the right direction, just DM me on Instagram. I'm at She Creates Business, and I will share that URL. It's weddingprofessionalsociety.com. We also talk about a discount code. If you want a discount code off the wedding planner certification course that I talked to you about, there are in-person and online opportunities. You can get $100 off by using the code She Creates when you sign up for the wedding planning certification course. Again, that link will also be in the show notes. It's a different link, but it'll be in the show notes as well. And before we get to the interview with Krisy and Laurie, I just want to tell you guys really quickly, mark your calendar for November 10th, 2019. It is October 2019 as I record this, but on November 10th, 2019, I will be releasing my 2020 She Creates content calendar. It is 365 days, a full year of marketing and social media content specifically for wedding professionals. It'll be $127. For less than 35 cents a day, you can have a marketing prompt every single day that will grow your revenue, build your clientele, position you as an expert to your clients, to your future clients. I'm really excited about it. If you purchase my 2019 content calendar, thank you so much for those of you who did. I will tell you that this new 2020 calendar will have new content. So it will not all be the same as 2019. So it'll be worth it to invest in the 2020 calendar as well. November 10th, $127, 365 days of marketing in 2020. That's all you need to know. All right, without further ado, let's go to the show with Krisy Thomas and Laurie Hartwell of the Bridal Society talking about 5 ways wedding professionals can elevate their business. Krisy and Laurie, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you, Kinsey.
Hey there, Kinsey.
Thank you both so much for being here. I was telling you offline, I'm going to tell you again online because I want everyone to know I am very much looking forward to this conversation because Krisy, as you may or may not know, I can't remember if I didn't share this with you, but the episode we did together when you first introduced my listeners to the Bridal Society is one of the most popular episodes I have on the show. And we got a lot of good feedback about that, I think. I don't know if you feel the same, but I feel like we continue to get good feedback about that even, a year on.
Oh my gosh,
so
that's so awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for telling me that, Kinsey. I thought it went really well. So I'm glad that the audience and the public enjoyed it as well. So thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
And I'm so glad, Laurie, that you are here with us today because I feel like we're just going to explode that topic even more. And today, as you guys can tell, we're talking about 5 ways wedding pros can elevate their business. And Laurie and Krisy are really going to dive into these 5 tips with us and just crush it with the information. I'm so excited. But before we get there, if you heard Krisy's interview last year about becoming a certified wedding planner, you may know a little bit about her. But Krisy, I'd love for you to just start us off, give us a quick overview of who you are again and what you do in the industry. And then Laurie, if you would do the same, I would appreciate that. I think that's a great way to kick off the interview.
Absolutely.
Perfect. So I'm Krisy Thomas, and I am a senior certified wedding planner located in Tennessee. We cover Nashville, Tennessee, Memphis, as well as a smaller area called Jackson, Tennessee. And I'm also work for the Bridal Society now. So I think my original interview, I was just teaching the online conferences and the online workshops. Mm-hmm. Now I am Laurie's co-instructor. So Laurie is the CEO and founder of the Bridal Society, and she tags me along to join her on her certification conferences. So we get to hang out all the time, and I love it. But I love being in both aspects of the wedding industry where I'm taking care of my clients and then also kind of educating the masses about how to become an amazing certified wedding planner. I'm a mommy, so I have a wonderful son, Portland. I think he was 2 at the time of our interview, which is crazy because now he's going to be 4. So that's been fun dealing with a 3-year-old, and also my wonderful husband, Chris, as well.
So good. And also, I can't believe he's going to be 4.
I know. It's mind-blowing, honestly.
I think I kept saying last year for your interview, but that must have been 2017.
I think it was, yeah.
I'm going to put it in the show notes, you guys. So don't worry. I'll put it in the show notes. Just scroll up on your podcast player or tap your podcast player. It really depends on which one you're using for the show notes, and you can find Krisy's first interview. Laurie, tell us about yourself.
All right. Well, my name is Laurie Hartwell. I'm the founder and CEO of the Bridal Society. I've been in the wedding industry for about 26 years now, and is just the joy of my life that now, once that I'm retired, planning weddings full time, I get to pass, the baton over to all of these amazing wedding planners, and I can mentor them and be there for them through the entire career. It's just really the biggest honor of my life. And I love educating people. I like making sure that what we're doing in the industry is we're raising the standards, because I feel like there's so many times where you find that the wedding industry or some, wedding pros kind of pop up out of nowhere, and they just don't really know what the proper etiquette is. And they don't know how to treat clients. They don't know how to treat other wedding professionals. And so one of the things that I really love doing is training wedding planners, and then also helping venues and wedding professionals in their business as well. I'm also a mother and a wife. My daughter is just about 20 years old. And she's spectacular in every single way, but I'm partial, I'm sure.
No, she really is. She's absolutely amazing.
I think she's awesome. And then I have the most amazing husband in the entire world. His name is Philip, and he is also the vice president of the Bridal Society. And so he works with us constantly. So we're just really pleased to make sure that what we're doing for the wedding industry is just helping elevate everyone and making sure that they're feeling comfortable and knowing that they can succeed and they can do it really, beautifully.
So we could have a whole nother podcast about working with your spouse, Laurie.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, sign me up.
I'm thinking like, wow, and those are big jobs. It's like the vice president, the CEO, like there's a lot that comes along with that. And well, you mentioned your daughter is 20 now, and you've been in the industry for 26. So she was just a little thing when you got started. What was that like as a mom with young kids, getting started in the industry? Is that something that you find that professionals come to you for advice for? What's like your number one tip for that?
They do come to me for advice in that. She was just, a little one kind of growing up in the whole situation with me, kind of working all the time. And I really had to learn the hard way what work-life balance actually looked like. And of course, I know that it's, very personalized for each type of family. Everybody has different circumstances. For me, what I realized is that I need to make sure that I'm putting my family first above and beyond everybody else. But I didn't learn that right away, obviously, because, once as professionals, especially women, we tend to try to do everything and be everything to everyone. And of course, that's just not possible to do. Yeah. So what I've learned over the years is that whoever's in front of me gets 100% of my attention. And I schedule this out. So, if I'm returning emails, let's say in the morning, that gets 100% of my attention. When I'm hanging out with my daughter for a mother-daughter date, she gets 100% of my attention. I'm not checking my phone. I'm not checking, my emails, anything. She gets all of it. And so I found that if I can separate things like that, it really goes a long way to making sure that no one feels like they are being ignored and that they're getting 100% of my attention.
That is so smart and so realistic too, because you mentioned you schedule it out. And so it doesn't have to be like the one thing gets your attention for 6 hours, but it could just be 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 1 hour of checking email, but it's 100% for that period of scheduled time.
Yeah, that's the only way that I was able to balance it, because for a while there, I was a mother, and wife, and then I also was planning weddings full time. I was also the CEO of the Bridal Society. I'm a daughter. I'm also a friend. There's just so many people that want a piece of you. And I was thinking, gosh, how can I make this happen? And actually still stay successful at all of it. And that's what I came up with. It's just 100% of my attention goes to whoever's in front of me and schedule that out and make it happen.
I like that a lot. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. We're going to dive into these 5 ways wedding pros can elevate their business. And what I thought would be really great for all of us listening, because I'm going to be taking notes. I know everyone listening is going to be taking notes. If you guys just want to go back and forth, whatever way that works for you best. So Krisy, you do one, and then Laurie, you do one. And then that way, if you guys have something to add for each tip, great. But that will just help us understand like who's talking, and it'll help us really absorb the information. How does that sound?
That sounds perfect.
Whoop. Okay, let's do this. Sorry, I'm just so excited about this, you guys. All right, number 1 on the list Hit us with
Number
it.
one on the list is geared mainly towards our wedding planners, and that is for the planners to actually get certified. And I know we talked about it during our interview, but I want to kind of extend that and say it's so much more than just getting that certification.
Yes.
It's so much more than just having that piece of paper that you can hang in your office. When it comes to being a part of the Bridal Society, you get that sense of community because for the Bridal Society, we have over 4,500 members in our organization, which is amazing to me. But it doesn't feel like it's that many people. We genuinely feel like a true family. And I'll use an example. One of our wedding planners, she had a family emergency happen, and it was a situation that was well out of her control. And she needed someone to assist with the wedding. And she just hopped up on our private Facebook forum and said, this is what's happening in my life. I could use your words of encouragement, but I also need someone to take over this wedding. And just with that one post, I mean, just hundreds of just wedding planners were like, I got you. Do you need my help? Here's my email. What do I need to do?
It was overwhelmingly
It was
beautiful.
very, I mean, it honestly like brings tears to my eyes now when I think about it. And just having that sense of community for an industry that can honestly be so defeating and so draining, and being able to have that community to build you back up, to help you when you need to, is well worth getting certified, because I feel like you need that in this industry. And I don't think there's a lot of places that offer that sense of family. I'm a part of a lot of different wedding planner groups on Facebook, and some of it can be so negative and so demeaning to sometimes, if you're asking a question that is a simple question and the answers can be like, well, that was stupid. Why would you ask that? I see that a lot. Don't get that when you are part of the Bridal Society, because Laurie doesn't tolerate it. She is our CEO, but Laurie's not the kind of CEO to just certify you and you don't hear from her again. She's constantly on the forum as well. She's constantly keeping her members in check and making sure that they're adhering to what her standards are. And I think that's what sets the Bridal Society apart is the standards that we have. So I definitely think having that sense of community is one of the biggest perks of being certified through the Bridal Society, for sure.
And we really believe in community over competition. And it's not that I'm, telling them that they're not really allowed to be negative. It's that they know that there's no room for that in this industry. And that, to me, everything starts at the top. If the leader of the organization is negative, then everything below will be negative. If the leader is positive, then everything below that's going to be positive. So they do know my expectations. And there's an accountability. When you say, Krisy, there's an accountability too within the group that is kind of beautiful. And they police themselves, and they're just so kind and so amazing, and they encourage one another when we have bad days. I mean, think about it. Wedding planners are rated number 5 of the most stressful jobs in America, and we need that support. We need people that are going to be like, all right, girl, like, listen, I know that it's going to be like you're having a hard day, or one of our male wedding planners having a really tough time. We need to make sure that we are lifting them up and not tearing them down, and that's what our community is all about.
I like what you said about the leader is the one, and you're leading from the front. And someone, I think it's my father-in-law, actually, he is obviously an entrepreneur, but he says the speed of the leader is the speed of the group. And that is so true in so many facets. And what I love about, Krisy, we talked a lot about getting certified, and yes, get certified, get a piece of paper, hang it in your wall, but it's really about what you do after that, what you do after that, the community that you're in after that, and continuing to, constantly improve and take your certification seriously and be in community with other people who are also taking it seriously. But importantly, from what I'm gathering from what you're saying, is that come at everything with a solution mindset. We don't have to be positive and Pollyanna all the time. That's just not possible because we're human beings. But, don't just come in here to vomit all over us and then peace out. Come in here, be prepared for solutions, but also we're here for you. If you just need a virtual hug because you're having a hard time, but be prepared for a solution and be prepared to take action, and a step in the right direction is what I'm hearing.
I couldn't agree with you more there. Yes,
exactly.
It's perfect.
And then I'll piggyback off when you say it's after what you do after you get certified. one of the perks is for sure we offer free online monthly workshops. So the education is constant. And with this industry, because it's always changing. I mean, you think you figured out the Instagram algorithm, and then the next day it's like, no, you haven't. So
you didn't.
Exactly. Good try, but you did not.
Yep.
We're constantly wanting to keep our members up to date on what's going on within the industry. So we do offer those free online monthly workshops. So that way you can keep your education going without having to, empty out your pocketbook every time you want to learn something new. We provide that for our clients, for our members.
For your member. And something you said, Laurie, stuck out to me, and it's you're just a walking example of this. The Bridal Society which is an extension of you, of course, is that you said you just really believe in that community over competition. And that's so clear to me because the Bridal Society itself, you have tons of partnerships with just huge industry giants. And I mean, it's not like, no, we're going to keep the society like to ourselves, and anyone else who's doing other things isn't okay with us. It's interesting because you provide this education in this community, but you're still partnering with people like Aisle Planner. They educate. They educate too. And I just find that, you're leading by example. That's imperative.
I love that. Thank you even for saying that. That's amazing. And yeah, I just really like to partner with people that I know are trying to raise the standards and helping other people in the industry. And because it's such a tough industry. I mean, the stress level that goes into it is just so, astronomical. And anything that we can do to help our members and help other wedding professionals, that's really what everything should be centered around.
Yeah. So number one, get the certification, but yes, it's what you do after that. Get in the community, be active, be ongoing. What's number two, you guys?
Well, we just recently launched a new division of the Bridal Society, and it's where wedding professionals, and I'm talking all wedding professionals, not just wedding planners, not just photographers, DJs, bakers, florists, but every single wedding professional can become accredited. And a lot of people are like, well, what's the difference between certification and accreditation? Well, the main difference here would be certification is all about education, whereas accreditation is about the vetting process. So we, as an independent company, will, you can apply for accreditation, and our independent company will actually look into you. We make sure that you are who you say you are and that you are a credit to the industry as a whole. So, making sure that you're licensed and insured and that you have a great reputation in your community, not only with the wedding professionals, but how did your past clients enjoy your services? Do you have a social media presence and things of that nature? So they have to prove all of those things in order to become accredited. And the reason why we started this is because it's just too easy in our industry for pop-ups. People that are like, oh, you know what? I have a camera. So doesn't that make me a wedding photographer? Well, no. So, and even in the wedding planning industry, we hear so often where venues will say to their clients, do you have a wedding planner? And they say yes. And it turned out to just be their cousin who read one wedding magazine. But that doesn't make you an actual, professional. And so how do venues know how to, refer wedding professionals if it's hard to tell by just a simple website? How do couples know how to navigate which professionals to hire if they can't tell who's been around for 4 seconds or been around for 10 years? Because sometimes these websites can be so, beautiful, but they may not have the experience, behind them. So I feel like people who do a lot of referring, like planners, like wedding venues, they deserve to know if someone has been vetted or not. So we created the accreditation program. It's crazy affordable. And it's just here to protect the wedding industry. And it's here to make sure that we are elevating businesses and raising the standards in the industry.
Wow, that is the accreditation program. I'm so happy to hear how you explained like certification versus accreditation. Like that's the vetting process. And that's really powerful because there are huge industries like the bank industry, the real estate industry, the financial industry. You guys, they have third-party accreditation programs like outsiders, like the Bridal Society now, like your accreditation program that come in to audit them to say you are like you're doing things appropriately and ethically and correctly. So, wow, this is a huge elevation to the industry. My eyes are really big right now. I gotta looking whoa, this is a huge elevation to the industry, because you're so right. It is so easy. And this is not a razz on if you started, if you put up a website and it looks really great and you just started 6 months ago, that's okay. That we're not saying that you're not a good planner or a great photographer or a great venue. We all get started that way in one way or another. But this is for people who are really in the game. What made you decide to start this? I mean, I'm sure I could think of a few reasons, and you mentioned some, but what were you kind of thinking of when you were like, let's take this a step further? We have certification. Now let's go to accreditation for all pros.
Right. So the main motivation for us is that we've heard so many complaints from venues and from wedding planners, and also from couples saying that they don't have any idea who's who in the industry. I love newbies. Newbies are actually some of my favorites in the industry because I can help them and I can help them grow. That's one of my favorite things. That's what's so cool about this, Kinsey, is that our accreditation program, we have a free membership, which includes business workshops that are available every single month. And those are specifically for my new wedding professionals because I want to help them grow. That's one of my favorite things in the entire world to do. But, as far as making sure that wedding planners know exactly who they can and can't trust, the accreditation requirements mean that you have to have at least 3 years in business and then prove all of those things that I had talked to you about. So I just think that there needs to be a way to showcase those who have been working really hard in the industry. And my newbies will appreciate it once they hit the 3-year mark too, because they'll see the difference. And it's just, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, you keep going. Well, that's so true. I was just thinking in my mind when you said, I feel like you were speaking directly to me when you said wedding venues have no way to determine if somebody actually has a wedding planner. Number one, I've had a new venue in our state reach out to me to say, hey, how do you do this? Because it's such a question. But I was thinking of a hilarious story about my own wedding venue where, because previously we didn't have a way to figure it out. We figured out something else, but I actually had a couple. And honestly, before I say this, to this non-wedding planner's credit, she actually did a good job, but I was still my mind was blown that, they even thought this was okay. I was like, we need your wedding planner. They have to be here for the rehearsal. So number one, they couldn't make it to the rehearsal. And the bride was like, oh, she's in class. So I was thinking I don't know, maybe she's in medical school or something. No. She's 17.
No.
She was in school, in class, high school class. She did come on the wedding day and she did crush it. I'm super proud of her and I appreciated that. And clearly the bride just did not want to play for a wedding planner. That's just the end of the line there. But it happens. And I find myself, I feel like I'm professional and I try really hard to vet our vendors. And this was, one of our first weddings. And so a lot has changed since then. But I was like, wow, you really sold this, because I was thinking, oh, she's at least in college. No, she was in third period geometry.
That's it. And so wouldn't it have been awesome for you as a venue to be able to say, well, is she accredited?
Yes.
Or is she certified? And that really, and think about too how venues feel. Now that, you are a venue, but I'm thinking of all the other venues that might be listening. Think about the DJs that come on. What if they are just a friend of the family, and he has an iPod and a speaker, and he thinks, well, how hard can this be? Unfortunately, what happens is the guests at those weddings don't always know that the couple wanted that iPod DJ. They sometimes assume that that's the venue's built-in professional, and that can really hurt a venue. And so I think it's just so important that we have standards and that we have a way of checking people out and vetting people in general.
Amen to that. You're so right. I can speak from a venue's perspective. 100%. Yes. That is one of the biggest reasons we have rules around our vendors, because of exactly what you said. It's not that we don't want you to have choices, but we have to protect our reputation. And that's one of the ways we can do it is by requiring professionals, because your guests have no idea. And I don't want to have to go on Google and, respond to a review and say, oh, I'm sorry, you didn't know that the couple actually chose this. It just it's just, it is weird. And, it's doesn't sound professional, and you kind of just sound like you're whining at that point, but it's true. Absolutely. You can avoid the whole topic if you have these standards. That's so good.
Right. Yeah, and so they can just go to accreditedweddingprofessionals.com and really look into it. They get a listing on our directory and that over 4,500 certified wedding planners see. So that alone is a huge thing, because our wedding, let me give you a little secret, Kinsey, on our secret forum with all of our 4,500 certified wedding planners, they are constantly saying, hey, my friend's getting married in Virginia, or hey, my best friend's getting married in Chicago. We need a DJ. Who do you guys recommend? Wouldn't it be great to have this directory for our certified wedding planners who are the repeat customer? Wedding planners are the repeat customer.
That's right.
And so to be able to have a listing, that would really be pretty special. And all of our accredited wedding professionals would also get those exclusive discounts from all of our industry partners, just like my certified wedding planners do when they get certified. So that's the Knot, Wedding Wire, Aisle Planner, and so on.
This is so good. I'm ready. I wanted to make sure. Did you say, Laurie, just want to make sure, accreditedweddingprofessionals.com?
That's right, my friend. And they also get those business workshops. They're free. They are included in the membership, and even under the free membership, I do that for the newbies, because I really want to make sure that they are starting off on the right foot and that they have the information that they need in order to be a huge success.
That's right. And don't be afraid to, even if you've been in the industry for a couple of years and maybe you don't feel like a newbie, I feel like it's very important that we continue our education. I was telling you and Krisy offline that we have added day of coordination to the venue, and I have sought out other wedding planners and you guys, that people I respect and I know are providing tools that are going to help us, because even though I feel like we do a great job as a venue, I do feel like I've been in the industry. I mean, it hasn't been, 10 years or anything, but I feel professional. I feel like I'm providing a good service, but I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. I'm going to go to the people who already know and just learn from them. So if you are someone like me who's adding another service, don't feel like you have to go it alone,
Exactly.
It's so important to have that community. It's so important to feel like you have someone to lean on, and that you have information that's coming from people that have been in the industry for a really long time and know what they're talking about. I just think it's awesome. I love, love, love community.
I agree. Okay. So getting certified, get into the community. That was number 1. Accreditation. That's the vetting process. What's number 3 way we can elevate our business?
Number 3 is only working with real professional wedding vendors. And this doesn't just include planners. I think this can include everyone in the industry. So, for example, with photographers, I think it would be so crucial if they would ask their clients, so who's your wedding planner? Because what happens for photographers especially, and my best friends are photographers, and they complain about this time and time again, is they're not working with professional wedding planners. They're not working, their clients don't have someone taking care of them on the wedding day, keeping up with the timeline. And this in turn falls in the hands of the photographer, who is already doing their job on making sure that you're getting those professional, gorgeous images, and I'm taking care of you in that way. But now I'm going to have to do a separate role and become your wedding planner. So I think as a wedding vendor, if you are asking those questions with your clients, saying who is your baker, who is your planner, and referring your other professionals time and time again, it's going to make the overall wedding day for your clients go so much smoother, because ultimately we all have the same goal, which is to make sure our clients are having the best day ever. And for me, the way that I do that is by ensuring that I'm only working with professional people, professional vendors. To me, my clients mean so much to me. Like, I just absolutely adore my clients. And that is the best way that I can take care of them, by only recommending and working with professional wedding vendors. So I think when you're at that level, when your expectations are that high for who you're working with, it's going to really relay in what the wedding day is going to look like, and how that wedding day is going to feel, and how that wedding day is going to flow, because you expect so much more from the people that you're referring, from those people who are the professionals in their industry and in their field. So I definitely think every aspect of the wedding industry, all the vendors, can definitely definitely make sure they're referring and only working with professional wedding or professional wedding professionals.
And I'm just not sure that, every wedding professional is asking those questions like Krisy is saying. Very rarely do other wedding pros feel like they are in a position to refer other people. And in turn, what's happening when you're not, giving good recommendations of a baker that's not the client's mom or the client's aunt. You go with a real baker, then you know that those photographs from that photographer is going to be much better. Think about the photographer's relationship with the DJ. So if the DJ is just some friend of a friend who said, yeah, I'll DJ your wedding for $150, which is, I'm just going to say that's scary. The photographer, now it may not be told when the father-daughter dance is or, when they're going to make a specific announcement because that so-called DJ, they had no idea that you're even supposed to communicate with the other wedding professionals. So why can't we as wedding pros as a whole be referring only the great wedding professionals and almost requiring it? Like if you would like me to work your wedding day, you need to have other wedding professionals who are licensed and insured. And think about it. If we all had those standards, imagine a wedding industry that has those standards. And right now there just doesn't seem to be any kind of bar that's set in that arena.
And I think it's a good, because obviously when I think about my job as a wedding planner, I'm constantly thinking of how I can educate my clients. I think all wedding professionals can use this as an opportunity to educate their clients as well, because they're booking certain people in a certain order. If they're booking the photographer first, that's a great opportunity for the photographer to recommend the other team of wedding professionals, because this photographer knows that they're going to be taken care of on the wedding day just as much as the client is. They're going to be allowed to actually do their job and do it well.
That's so true. How do you mentioned for your clients, Krisy, that sounds like you are at that point where you are only working with professional vendors. So how do you clarify that? Or, how do you make sure that that is in fact the case and that someone doesn't show up with a 17-year-old wedding planner? Like a venue I know.
Very much. I really over communicate that. So that's a policy that my company has, and my clients and potential clients know this from that first initial contact. So as soon as they reach out to me, that's one of the first questions I ask them is, who are your, the vendors that you've already booked? And if they're completely open and haven't booked anybody at that point during my consultation, that's when I educate them and let them know about my policy. And I kind of do this by scaring them because, in my first year of business, I kind of just worked with whoever and just took all the weddings I could take. And by me doing that, by me not having super high expectations of the vendors I was working with, I was dealing with some really awful wedding situations, like working with a, aunt who said they were a baker and the cake melting because it wasn't properly, they didn't have it wasn't how it should be made, basically. Or, having the friend who's got the iPod and the speaker and him not being there for the announcements because he's on the dance floor having a good time. So I've experienced those situations with some of my weddings in the past, and I don't want my clients to experience that. So I let them know during that consultation, this is why my policy is the way it is, because honestly, I'm trying to protect you. I want your wedding day to go as flawless and stress-free as possible. And one bad vendor, it's a domino effect. It can really and truly ruin the rest of your day. And you mean too much to me for me to let that happen.
Oh, I like the way you worded that. You mean too much for me to let that happen.
And they do. It's one day, and it goes by fast. And I from my own personal side of being a part of a wedding day, when my sister got married last year, it was a blur. It was a complete haze. And now I really know why it's so important to make sure that I've got people taking care of my clients and my bride and my grooms, because it goes by so fast. And I want you to be able to enjoy and soak in all of the moments of the day.
It's a good example. Yeah. You always see it too when we're planning events for our family. We're like, oh, okay, so I can see now from the perspective of the couple and of the family members why it's so important. Yeah.
That's right. I have my own personal experience with that. I did not have it. This was 11 years ago, or 10 years ago rather, but I did not hire a planner for my own wedding. And so my wedding day was like 5 minutes to my mom. She has no idea because she was my planner, basically. She did everything. And I was like, it's my biggest regret.
Well, Kinsey, then we're going to have to redo the whole thing.
I know. Thank you for saying that, because I am like on a renewal train right now, vow renewal train, and I want it to be another wedding.
to take care of the whole thing. We're going to start from scratch, my friend. That's what we'll do.
Krisy and Laurie support me in telling my husband tonight.
I'll take care of it. Don't worry.
Okay, so working with professional vendors only, I feel like that's a really strong point, and so valuable. What's number 4? What's a fourth way that we can start to elevate our business?
Well, the fourth way would be to have excellent communication. So what I'm finding is that a lot of times we're not talking to one another. And who I'm talking about is the wedding professionals in general. So let's just say that a wedding planner had not been hired. Are the DJs asking who the photographer is? Are the photographers asking who the baker is? Are we talking to one another and getting the vital information that we all need in order to make the wedding day seamless? And I don't think we are. What we're doing is we're relying too heavily on what the client's perspective is. And we're hoping that we're getting all of the important key pieces of the planning process from them. But the problem is if there's not usually a planner, then what we are finding is that the couples have no idea what they're supposed to be doing, so they're just winging this. So communication could not be more important when it comes to those of us in the wedding industry, because it's not just a photographer doing a job. It's not just the DJ doing a job. We have to work as a team in order to have a great event and in order to do the job effectively, right? So I really feel like that we need to be doing a much better job communicating with one another. And this is one of the workshops, the business workshops that we are going to be doing on for accreditation pros, accredited wedding professionals. And plus just thinking from a planner's point of view, how well are you communicating with your clients? And how well are we telling everybody, those of us, who have these amazing clients, and some of us have 20, some of us have 45, whatever it may be. How well are you telling those clients what the next steps are? And even in the onboarding process, how well are we communicating with everyone in order for them to know what to expect?
I think the biggest issue is that there's a lot of assumptions. We assume our clients know what's next. We assume our DJ knows how we want to handle the reception timeline. Mm-hmm. And that's where that communication is failing, because we are just assuming, and that's our biggest mistake.
That's so true. Do you find that I guess, especially in your community, the community of 4,500 professionals or the planners that are in there, are you finding that there's like an even split of questions between like, how do I deal with this couple versus, how do I handle this vendor situation? I'm curious about that in a community of that size, because that's just so indicative of, lack of communication.
100%. And yes, we are seeing that it's pretty equal, whether it's communication with the wedding professionals or communication with their clients. And I think it does go back to what Krisy was saying, is the assumptions. Yeah. Clients know what the next steps are. They don't. They have no idea what they're supposed to be doing. And of course, with the wedding professionals, sometimes we run into professionals who don't even want to communicate. They get upset about communication, and that needs to change. We all need to be able to work together, and we need to stop having any pushback. And to me, if there is a wedding professional out there who doesn't want to communicate with the wedding pro or the planner or doesn't want to communicate with the wedding venue, this is a red flag to me. And that's just another reason why accreditation would work so well, is because we check into things like this. But we need to have better communication. And I think that there's no such thing as over communicating.
Agreed.
Let's just tell everybody what it is that we need, what the next steps are. And what else we need to communicate to our clients is what we expect from them and what we need from them. And also what our boundaries are, because I find that a lot of wedding planners, only because I work with hundreds of thousands, it seems, it's just, they don't seem to articulate to their clients what their boundaries are. What are your hours? Should you text me every 5 seconds? Things of that nature. We need to tell our clients what they can and can't do with us.
That's right. I think that's so valuable because, communication it's how relationships break down. You know, even if you don't, and you might be thinking, well, this is the first time I've worked with a said vendor. We don't have a relationship. Yes, you do. That's bad communication is the first way a relationship will break down. And I feel like it causes some of the most stress. I mean, yes, we all have, other things that arise on a wedding day or even prior to a wedding day. But, communication it's like that book. Have you heard of that book, Communication, Sex, and Money? Those are like the three biggest topics with human beings. And, and like communication is number one on that book. So because they feed into everything, I just could not agree more. I am loving that this is one of the tips. I feel valuable not valuable. I feel very valued when another vendor communicates with me really well. For example, when a planner, sends me a floor plan, sends me a timeline, sends me a whatever, and it's constantly just keeping me in the loop, is CCing me on emails with the caterer for, their table plan. I feel very valued and like, wow, thank you for keeping me in the loop so that I can show up and do my job really well for the couple, because I feel like in a way they are making us look good. We'll have all the information.
And that really needs to be a wedding planner's top priority, is to make sure that all of the wedding professionals, as well as the venue, feel as though they have everything that they need. They need to know that we are assisting them. We're supposed to make their jobs easier. So that's, to me, one of our top priorities. Now, about 30% of our membership in the Bridal Society are wedding venues. And so we get to hear from a lot of venues as well of what their feelings are on the subject and what their expectations are of the vendors that are going to be coming on property. It's incredibly important to have that type of communication, because as a planner, I want to know what you expect as a venue. I want to know what my photographers need from me, because I can make their lives easier. They can make my lives easier just by communicating those expectations as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
Anything else to add on that tip before we move on to our fifth and final elevation or way we can elevate our business? I was going to say elevation tip, and I was like, that sounds like mountain climbing, so I'm not going to.
I won't mountain climb.
Same. I live in the mountains, but don't.
Yeah. If it requires sweating on my part, that's just simply not going to happen. No, I don't. I'm definitely ready to go on to number 5 for sure.
Number 5. What do you have for us?
Well, it's integrity. So I feel like a lot of people lose sight of the key portion of what's going to make them super successful. Obviously, communication is really high up there. But I feel like if you don't have integrity, then no matter how much communication or how you communicate, it's not going to help you. So integrity needs to be kind of the soul of every wedding professional that's in our industry. And how does this really kind of help you as a professional? Well, with integrity, that means that you're always going to do what's right. Always do the right thing, not just by you. Don't always do the right thing that will help you, but do the right thing that will help your client. Do the right thing by your wedding pros, making sure that you always do what you say you're going to do. That, to me, the follow-up and follow-through is everything. If you tell me you're going to get me something on Tuesday by 5 p.m., I fully expect that to happen. When someone doesn't and they drop the ball and they don't even tell me, like, oh, hey, by the way, I'm going to run late or I can't get it to you, that tells me that you don't have respect for someone else. So having that integrity in business and doing the right thing by everybody, and, to me, it tells me everything about that person. And that's what I look for. Anytime we're hiring staff on or bringing on somebody else, like even when I wanted to make sure that I had a co-instructor, looking at all of our different members, who would be the right fit. I knew Krisy was going to be the exact right person because she shows integrity and she oozes integrity. And that's what I look for. And I think that sometimes in business we lose sight of it, and it makes me sad. So I think that should be one of the biggest takeaways when it comes to business is who are you as a human being? And are we constantly looking to raise our own standards and become a better person for everybody involved? We run into difficult people on a regular basis. It's kind of part of the job, right? But
right.
know, how do we respond to those difficult people? Do we lower ourselves to their level, or do we make sure that we really find out who we are, how we want to come across, and show them respect no matter how they're treating us? I think that should be, the soul of every wedding professional.
And how we're treating people, because we are not infallible. We are humans, and there will be times in our life where we have something come up and maybe we can't meet that deadline on a Tuesday, or maybe we did drop the ball. I think also integrity is showing up and apologizing, owning your mistake, and then making it right.
And then holding yourself accountable.
Yes.
So when you do make mistakes, because we make mistakes all the time, but the ones who are making excuses for it, if I messed up, I'm apologizing for my mess up. I'm not giving an excuse. I'm not throwing someone under the bus. No. And I feel like in this industry that happens time and time again. And that's where that lack of integrity comes in, when you're not, holding yourself accountable for your actions.
Such a good point.
Yeah.
Integrity. I underlined that 3 times. Integrity. This has been these 5 tips. I'm just going to recap them, everyone. So we talked about, Krisy, number 1, said, yes, get certified, but it's really what happens after that. Get in the community, be active in a community over competition. Number 2 is accreditation, the vetting process. Are you accredited? Are you a consummate professional? Number 3 is working with professional vendors only. Number 4 is having excellent communication. That's with your clients, with your other co-vendors, with your venue, with your family about your business, everyone. Excellent communication. And then, of course, number 5, the one we just touched on. Number 5 way you can elevate your business is to keep in integrity. So good. Yes. What are some closing thoughts that you might have? Is there anything else you can tell us about your new accreditation program or about the Bridal Society? I would love to just open it up for any closing thoughts you guys have that you might want to share with us.
Yeah, I would love to. The Bridal Society is definitely unique because of the family-oriented kind of way we communicate with one another. It's just such a beautiful and wonderful, amazing, it's an amazing feeling to have all of those great benefits. And, I know that there are some wedding planners out there that say, gosh, but I've been planning weddings for 10 years. Do I really need a certification? Well, here's what I can tell them. I have wedding planners that take our course that have over 30 years of experience, and they walk away saying, oh my gosh, I cannot believe how much I learned. But it goes past that, because we're going to give you lifetime support. You get free membership for the rest of your life. We are never going to charge you year after year after year. You have free monthly workshops. You're going to get discounts with all of the wedding professionals, the huge industry partners that we have. And so if you do want to become certified, we are giving Kinsey a little gift. And if you want to get certified and receive $100 off your certification that lasts, that's a one-time low fee that will cover you for a lifetime membership, lifetime certification that never expires. If you use the discount code SHECREATES, all one word, you'll get $100 off, and then you can join our family. And we would really love to have as many amazing wedding planners as we can possibly get, no matter if you are just in business for 5 to 6 seconds, or maybe you've been in business for 40 years. You are always welcome, and we would love to have you join our amazing group.
Thank you so much for that gift to the listeners. I am excited about it. I have a quick point of clarification, because I know, Laurie, you offer in-person and online certification. Is that discount code good for both of those, or in-person only? Or tell me the scoop on that, because I know they'll see that on your schedule.
No, you're right. And it is good for whether it's in person or if it is one of our live online webinars. And again, the online, it is still live. I'm still talking to you in real time. So it's just like if you were sitting right there in front of me. So yeah, it's either way, that discount code will work no matter what.
This is so good. And I just wanted to touch on, Krisy, I'm sorry. Do you want to say something? Because I keep talking.
No, you're fine, Kizzy. Keep talking, girl.
Well, I just wanted to say, like, I have, I know I talked about it at the beginning of this episode, but I just wanted to touch on the community piece of the Bridal Society again really quickly, because I really felt that I am not a part of the Bridal Society yet, but I will be. But I really felt that community as an outsider, even when Krisy, you did your first episode. I feel like so many women shared it, so many women and men, commented on the post on my Instagram. And that was your Bridal Society community. They were, just excited for you and supporting you and the show. And, just from the outside looking in, I thought, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. And look at all of these people supporting Krisy. Obviously, you're amazing, and they would anyway. But I felt like that was just such an example of just a tiny sliver of an example of the community that we all say we want. We all say we crave. I'm one of them. It's, I live on a ranch in the middle of nowhere in Colorado. It's difficult to find other women who are taking their wedding career seriously as I am. And anyway, I just wanted to share that personal example.
I appreciate you saying that, because I feel like we have the most incredible membership. I mean, I get tears in my eyes on a daily basis because my members are so amazing and they are so uplifting and they're so supportive. We all go through some really difficult times in our lives, and you would think that we've known each other our entire lives. They are so wonderful. And so I just can't say enough about how professional and beautiful my members are.
So good. Tell us how to find you. Yeah, you go.
I'm so excited for you, Kinsey. I can't wait.
I'm excited for me. Well, first of all, I don't know why I didn't do it before. I just felt like, I don't know why I didn't do it before. I should have. But now that, we are going to offer Day of Coordination, and who knows what we'll do beyond. But I was like, okay, I should have done this in 2017, but better late than never.
That's right. We'll take you anytime you want.
Krisy and Laurie, tell everyone how they can find you.
Perfect. So if you would like to gain your certification, you can go to thebridalsociety.com, and you can just find so much valuable information on that website. When you go to sign up for one of the certification conferences, whether it be online or in person, you will go ahead and say get tickets. And when it's time for you to fill out your information, it will say, do you have a discount code? And that's when you're going to enter She Creates to receive your $100 off. If you are interested in becoming an accredited wedding professional, you can go to Accredited Wedding Professionals with an S at the end.com. And there's a ton of information there as well.
Thank you.
My personal Instagram is just Southern Sparkle Weddings, and that's where you can follow all the sparkle fun if you're interested in seeing that as well.
Instagram.
Thank you.
Thank you. I work really hard on it. I actually just got your content calendar, so I am so excited. That's going to be a game changer. So thank you for that.
Thank you for that. Oh, it's my pleasure. Oh, Krisy and Laurie, this has been an amazing conversation. Thank you for spending almost an hour with me. I always tell my guests it's going to be 30 minutes. It never is, and I'm sorry. But I'm not sorry in your case, because this was just a fabulous conversation. I appreciate you both so much. Thank you.
We had the best time, and it is always such a pleasure talking to you.
You as well. Both of you take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to She Creates Business. Please take a minute and head to iTunes to leave an honest review so we can help more wedding pros find the show.